Hi, I'm Victor Cantore. I'm the president and CEO of Amex Exploration. Amex Exploration is a company that's right now our drilling program is one of the largest in Canada. We're in the process of concluding a 300,000 meter drill program. We've been having fantastic press releases on a regular basis, including now more recently, we've actually made a copper-rich discovery, a VMS copper-rich discovery.
Fantastic, Victor. Well, thanks for coming on the show. I think we've maybe passed in the corridor at one of those of London 1-to-1s. When we were allowed to do that travel.
We were allowed to, exactly.
Do you remember? Well, I appreciate you coming on the show because it's a story we've been aware of for some time, and a story that I've been quite keen to kind of talk to you about here. So, given you're new to us, we've not spoken before, not met before, or not discussed this before. Yep. I'm kind of keen to understand what the plan was day one, because here's something for you. I'll say in the last couple of weeks, to make it harder for people to work out, there's a company came on here and said, you know what, we want to be like Amex. We want to be like Amex because they're doing things the right way. So what was the plan day one, and where are you with that plan?
Sure. So I joined the company in 2017. They had some really interesting projects. The main project that really interested me was the Perron project, the project where we're devoted most of our time is on this project. So my goal was right from the beginning was to raise money, enough money to start drilling. We were fortunate enough to get some really good results, and we continued raising money. I mean, it's one thing to make a discovery, and then you just got to continue on and drilling. That's you build the ounces. That's really what we've been doing from the beginning.
So you've got interested in this story. 300,000 meters drill program. You've been raising money. The market's fallen away from you this year. Why is that? Why is the disconnect?
Yeah, so it looks like it's really the sentiment in gold has been negative. So when you look at the chart on Amex and you look at the chart on the Goldex or most of the companies, it's pretty much all the same thing. But I'd like to distinguish ourselves that we are different, and that's what we're trying to do. And so we raised a lot of money in 2020. Our stock price really appreciated. We took advantage of that moment to raise the money as high as possible, so cause the least dilution. And we're nowhere near. We've got a lot of money in the bank right now. Looking at our last financial statements, we're still sitting with close to $20 million in the bank, and so we don't perceive. We'll be very opportunistic anytime that we're going to raise money.
Right. So let's talk. So how much money have you raised in total in this current company, in the current incarnation of the company?
Well in excess of $30 million, probably close to $40 million, probably closer to $40 million.
Right. So 40 million in total. Okay. And you're sitting at what, 200 million market cap today. So let's talk about what you've done. 300,000 meters of drilling. What's that tell you? What have you been able to tell the market, more importantly?
Well, we're definitely building out a deposit. I mean, what the ounces that are going to be in there, we're going to commission we're going to commission a resource calculation at some point, but along with an economic study. We will do an economic study to go with it. The reason why an economic study, because an ounce of gold in where we're located, where you have full infrastructure, you have electricity, you have roads. So we can leave from Toronto or Montreal, and we'll be here in 7.5 hours driving, and you'll drive right up to the core shack. And if you would like to drive right into the drill sites, we've made the roads are great roads inside I can just drive with my car. I don't need a special vehicle to go right up. And just as an example, because I'm at the site right now, I've been here all week. One of the so we were at the drill site, and I see a vehicle coming, which I did not know was just a regular vehicle. And it was somebody's wife, a driller's wife, that came to deliver him his lunch. I was completely shocked. This is wow. Where else can you get this done? It was quite impressive.
It's very handy for him. So just want to come back to the kind of use of the money so far. So it sounds like the bulk of the money's gone on drilling, which is great. Yes. And you're working towards a resource and some kind of economic study, which is great. And why is it taking so long to do that? I mean, what's the point? Because you're just trying to work out the extent of the ore body here, or the extent of what's available.
You just keep going. You just keep.
That's the plan. Just keep going.
Yes, you just keep going. As long as you keep finding gold, you just keep going. I mean, we've explored 3.5 kilometers. So the way it works on this project, we have these faults. We're finding most of the gold along these faults. So there's a lower fault which is called the Perron Fault, and it's about 8 kilometers long, 7 to 8 kilometers. The northern fault is called the Normétal Fault. That's also about 7-8 kilometers, and there's other ones that are running in between. We've only worked on 3.5 kilometers of that so far. So there's so much more gold to find. Also, if anybody has a resource modeling software, they can go right on our site. They can download all the data. They don't need to sign a confidentiality agreement. We've taken the approach that we have nothing to hide. Here are results. You got resource modeling software. You can do it on your own while we're working on it. And I think it would be unfair to the shareholders if we would just put out a resource calculation and not put out an economic study with it, because the ounces here were a lot more valuable than an ounce in some remote location.
Right. Yeah, of course. So tell me this then, with regards to coming back to the business plan question, which was you set out day one. You know a lot more now than you did then. Obviously, it's been so much more drilling. But in terms of have you changed your approach? Has it always been we'll just keep drilling this thing out until we reach the extent of the ore body, and then we'll make some decisions here, or have things changed along that period of time?
No, not much has changed along that line. Is basically we've made this. So since we've been on the project, the original project when we got involved, it was one of these zones that's called the central polymetallic zone, and there was another zone that was called the Gratien zone. But since then, we've discovered what we call the Grey Cat zone. We've discovered the Denise zone, and we've discovered the high grade zone. And the high grade zone is quite extensive. It's beautiful chute that runs almost from surface, and we've intersected it all the way down to 1.2 kilometers so far, and it's really linear. Like it's really, and it's known in the Abitibi. I mean, you look at the Agnicos running a mine down to about 3.5 or 4 kilometers, very, very profitable. It's one of the most profitable mines out there. The old Normétal mine that was here, which was a VMS polymetallic mine, went all the way down to 2.4 kilometers, and it's very linear. Like it's a very linear system, easy to mine.
Right. So tell me a bit about that. You're obviously quite good at exploring, and we were looking at some of the numbers that you mentioned there. So where do you take it through to? Okay, we know resource. We know some kind of economic study. Is that the extent of what you're going to do, or are you going to look to develop this yourselves before finding a partner? I mean, how do you play this thing?
Okay, so our first focus is really the shareholders, and we are shareholders ourselves, and we've bought, all the insiders have bought and paid for their shares all along. So the first thing, it comes to the shareholders. Now we're just going to continue along. We're going to go to develop it. If somebody comes along and wants to buy the project, yes, we'll be open. We'll present we'll present it to the shareholders. But definitely, we'll always take the shareholders at heart first.
But you've got some interesting neighbors, haven't you?
Yes.
I mean, that's what people look to. They look to that and go, well, that's got to affect your thinking in terms of the way that you go about doing this.
Yeah, so it is different from where it was. So if I back up to when we originally made the discovery in late 2018, by 2019 we were making, it was one press release after another where you're seeing these nice grades, like really high grade chutes, plus Denise, which is right beside it, so you can actually build something nice out of it. So at the beginning, you're looking at all your neighbors, say, oh, well, look at Hecla Hecla's just 60 kilometers north of us, or about an hour away. You've got a whole bunch of other complexes, the Holt Holloway complex, you've got the IM Gold complex, all within, an hour and a half away, where you could actually bring it. But now things have actually changed, because now you can, as you're building it bigger, that's why we put this big exploration program on, its big drilling program, because now you could think, well, maybe I don't need to toll mine this thing. Maybe this could be a standalone project. It could end up being something really big. That's why you want to find as many ounces as possible, and you just build a complex right on site, and you've got all the infrastructure. This is an old mining town. But you also,
I'm intrigued by the strategy. Like you've been around the block, right?
Yeah.
The other thing about just keep drilling is you show a mid-tier. the scale here, because 1 million. If you put some 1 million ounces, the registry 2 million ounces. They're having to make that calculation between, do we come in now or when it gets a bit more expensive, right? So that's the other thing about putting all your effort, more importantly, money and meters, with those dollars, right? So those are the decisions you got to make, aren't they?
Absolutely. So that's why for us, we're going to continue going forward, building up as many ounces as we can, and just continuing, to develop it. Have a PA to go with an economic study to go with it, and that's definitely going to make the project really attractive at that point.
So, have you had any conversations along those lines, or are people just sitting there? Sorry. I know no one's going to talk to you until you've got a resource out, but are you having conversations about, just call me when you've got the resource numbers? Would be interesting. Talking.
One advantage that we have is the fact that we do have our resource, not our resource, that we do have our drill data on site. Like I was saying before, that somebody with resource modeling software, and that's what's getting conversations going. That's what's getting, I can't discuss, but yes, there's, I don't even think I'm allowed to say that I've signed CAs, so I'll leave it at that. I'm not sure what I can and can't say, but yes, there's definitely conversations and people that want to come up here and look, and again, to come up here, it's very easy to come up here and look, So,
John, I'm going to come back to that same question then. So, I know at the end of the day, this is about the shareholders must decide, and I know you guys are shareholders too, but where have you got the energy to take this through to? Because, it's like, you can say, look, we'll get the maximum value for this moment in time, or if we play this thing out for another 18 months, we'll obviously be a lot more money involved, but maybe we haven't got those skill sets, haven't got the energy to do that, and, let's just flip it now. How do you have those conversations?
Yeah, that's a great question, but that's management really, again, I'm always going to come back to shareholders and shareholder value, right? So one of the next steps now, we're really advancing it, is we'll have to hire a mining engineer, to start looking at, we could look into putting together a bulk sample. We could look, but you'll need a mining engineer now to start putting a mine plan together. How does a mine look here? Along with an economic study, and that's what you do. You keep moving along as if you're going to do it yourself.
So what are the analysts saying at the moment? Who are you covered by?
So we have currently 4 analysts that are covering us. You have Industrial Alliance with George Topping with Industrial Alliance. You have PI Financial with Phil Kerr. You have Ryan Hanley with Laurentian Bank Securities, and you have Tom Gallo with Canaccord.
And what are they saying?
There's different targets. Like here, I'll give you the best one is George Topping. He says we got 4 million. He says we got 4 million ounces, and please, all the waivers that go with it, they should read the waivers and read everything that goes with it. I'm not. This is what he says. So, anyways, there's 4. He believes there's 4 million ounces, and he actually likes our last press releases that we've made this VMS discovery, which would be normal to make a copper-rich VMS discovery when you had the Normétal mine was mined from 1928 till 1978, 4 kilometers away from here. At the time, it was one of the richest VMS mines around. So if I go to the lowest one says we have 1.5 million ounces. So our goal is to beat the best one. That's our goal. Is the number right this moment and this time somewhere in between that? Could be. It could be, but we're just going to continue. My goal is that we have to try to beat the highest number.
So if you look at that, obviously you put that out on the 21st of September. The market saw a little pop, a little reaction because it's copper, right? People. Yeah. The copper stories are few and far between. Does that? Obviously that's very encouraging, but I think you've met yourself. You've got a long ways to go to kind of recover the levels you want to be at, but. Does that change your strategy, your thinking at all, or you just go like that? It is what it is. We're still a gold company. We know what we're focused on.
Yeah. So you continue on with our goal. That does not change. Doing definition drilling, doing exploration drilling for the gold property. Just continue. There's so much to explore here still. So that there's. I do believe we have a lot more discoveries to make. What the good part about the copper discovery So that's why we did a hole immediately under it, so that, it's about 66 meters below it. So what you're trying to do is prove up a body. The advantage that we have here is that smelters there's not too many smelters around, copper smelters around. You can put this stuff in a truck and ship it over. I know I'm saying it's simple. There's obviously, you'd have to have permitting, feasibility studies and all that. But I'm just saying there's a smelter, there's a copper smelter 1.5 hours away from here in Rouyn-Noranda. We're in Normétal, and the old Normétal mine, that's where it was being shipped at. If you find a deposit like a very, you need to find a very rich copper deposit if you're in a remote location, because you got to think of the transport, bring it and finding a smelter to send it over to.
So again, with the obviously VMS, suggests a lot of cost involved, but potentially big rich polymetallic deposits too. So how do you come at where you put the drill bit? Because you know what you're aiming, who you're aiming for, who your neighbors are. They're gold guys, right? And there's you know exactly what they want and how to present it, and you're sharing information so they know what's going on here. Yeah. With something like this copper project and targeting these VMSs, is that high priority for you? I know you got $20 million bucks, but
so what we've done, so when we talk about neighbors, right? So we said we had all those gold neighbors, right? But we have a copper neighbor, a smelter neighbor, and it's the Horn smelter, which is owned by Glencore. So that's for us, it's another neighbor to have. So what we've done is we've dedicated one drill to it. So not to change our focus has not changed, but because of the significance of the discovery, it does merit to at least dedicate one drill to it. So we're doing all the work. We've put out, it looks like there's a body there now. There's a lot of work before you could declare it anything, but we're doing all the right work, all the geophysical work, and we're going to continue drilling it with one drill.
It's kind of handy. I mean, the fact that you did raise a lot of money is quite handy for you now, because you don't have to think about, maybe do I have to do an offtake here for Glencore, which would then obviously that affects your future value, etc. So that's interesting though. That's very, very interesting. So can I come back to the question? Right, I said at the beginning, right, I need this to be a growth story. If I look at the share price now, I hear what you're saying. Precious metal charts are not pretty for most companies at the moment. And you can only do what's in your control. I get every good CEO has got to say that. But how do I get comfortable with this as a growth story? Do I need to, one, I guess, believe in what gold's going to do, but I also need to believe what you're going to do. So do you think that you're doing enough? Are you going to be looking towards some near-term event once you've done the resource and the study, the economic study? I mean, is that the moment I'm looking for? In which case, I don't have long to wait.
Yeah, look, we're going to continue doing what we're doing, in the sense where we're going to just continue drilling. If the opportunities of an event will definitely present itself as we continue advancing the project. We raised a lot of money, and the majority of our money does go in the ground. I do believe for exploration companies, we probably have one of the lowest G&A in all of them. But in general administrative expenses, we do put most of our money into actual exploration. We definitely want to continue defining, with one drill. I think we could be putting out, news releases at least every once a month or so, depending on the assays, how fast they can come back on the copper asset and on the gold asset. I mean, it's the value will keep showing up there as you just keep drilling and putting out results. Like we had put out about 2 weeks ago, we put out fantastic results. And it wasn't just one hole. We reported a total of 30 holes, and if you look at 10 of those holes, were spectacular holes. So when you multiply, so I'm going to use the number on that press release, you'll see where there's the on the long section, there's all that pink area. So that pink area is all what we call 50 metal factor. So metal factor is you multiply the grade by the so for example, if you had 100 grams per ton over 6 meters, that's 600. But 50, 50 is it's still a big number. Like we put ourselves in a different category. Well, look at this, what we've got, metal factor of over 50. And it's quite extensive, and it looks like it's becoming a nice deposit. And this is what you need to continue giving the market, is to show them that, look, this is building out to be a mine, and it's going to be a profitable mine because of its grade and location.